Alright viewers, so today we are going to work on putting on the new wheel. Alright, so first of all I'm going to release the brakes. Okay, and then we'll take the front wheel off. Alright. Okay, so I got the old tire off and I was just checking to see the rotation, and it's very faint on these Continental Gator skins, so you got to check for it, but the rotation says to go this way, so that's the way we'll go with it. Okay, so before I install it on the bike, you'll notice this arm here, it's got to be parallel to the fork, and so if that's facing like that, on this side we'll want to make sure that the generator connector is also facing the same direction. So we're going to go ahead and just test fit it here. And hand tighten the nuts to hold it in place. Just to kind of get it on the bike, and then you'll see, okay, that goes there, and there's this retainer that basically goes on like this. So when you grab hold of the brake, it leverages against the fork to keep the brake from going around. So I need to connect this right here on the fork, and so I wanted to just find out where that was going to be, because I'm going to put some electrical tape around there to protect the finish on the fork. Alright, so I've slid the band up the fork leg, and I'm going to attempt to get it on, get the wheel back on, and slide this. Oh my, it's going to be a bit of a trick, and that'll be the difficult part in changing a flat on this too, is trying to get all this to line up. Now the trick will be trying to get these squeezed together, because the problem is the bolt goes through and I don't know if it's going to reach. Yeah, it's going to be tight. Let's see if we can get them to connect here. No, it's not even close. So I'm going to have to go get my helper. Okay guys, so I got it on. I had to get a little tough with it, squeezing with the channel locks, squeezing it together, and then it was bulging out here, so I had to basically tap it into shape. So now it's on. Looks like it's going to be okay. The next thing I'm going to do is convert the V-brakes. I've got the cables up here. I need to run them down through here so I can get the brakes to work here. Okay, the first thing I'll do is remove the retainer nut from the V-brake. Wow, this was really on. There it goes. And then unfortunately this cable is going to be too short, so I will have to cut this cable. It's probably just as well, because I've got some frayed cable here. I'm just going to go ahead and get my cable cutters and cut that piece off, and then take the pieces apart. And then fortunately for me, I've got this little brake cable adjuster, so this piece comes off, and I'll keep this cable adjuster on there, but I will need a longer brake cable, so stand by for that. So the next thing I need to do is, this cable needs to come out, so you just kind of push it back through, and out it comes. Okay, now I'll need to get a new cable from my stash. So I've got a new piece of cable, brake cable. Okay, then we're going to feed the new cable in. This is always kind of delicate because you don't want to mess up the new cable and fray it, but if you're careful, it should feed in okay. And of course, before I feed it all the way in, I'm going to spray some lithium grease on the cable and lube it up, because this is probably the best time you're going to get to do this, unless you like taking it apart and doing this from time to time. So I'll just slide it through and I'll just keep greasing up the cable. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to have to do is figure out how long this housing needs to be. So what I'll do is I'll thread it down to where it's going to plug into the cable stop at the bottom, and then kind of do a bend here. You want to leave a little bit of slack, but not too much, because the whole thing will turn with the handlebars. So I think I'm going to do about this much slack. So then I'll just get my housing cutters and cut it off. Okay, and then I need to look in here, of course, and make sure I've got a clean cut so that the cable will fit through. Alright, so after making the cut, I just want to make sure that this is nice and square and flush. And if you have to, you can just file off any rough edges. It should be nice and smooth so it'll fit into the housing up here okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Alright, and then what we'll do is let's go ahead and take the cable, feed it through the housing all the way up, and pull it tight and make sure it seats. Okay, so now that's all set, and then we just need to figure out how we're going to route this. I think I'm going to route it around my two shifter cables here because the whole thing turns with the front wheel. So I don't want to go between them, because then there could be a pinch at some point. So I'll just go around them. And I think I'll just put a cable tie on one of the fork legs to kind of keep it up and out of the way. Okay guys, so I've got my brake adjuster right here. And it just slots in right there. And then I'm just going to route my cable through it. And right through to here. Now there's a I actually bought this. I had a different one, but I like this one better. It's a 9mm nut on each end. So I feed the cable through there, and then I'll just tighten the nut. I'll have to hold the other end with the pliers. Alright, let's see if it works. Yeah, it seems to. Alright. That pulls in too far, but what I can do is I can just undo this. I think that'll be good to start with. I'll go out and test ride it and see how I like it, but that's a good start right there. Alright, so that is the brake side. I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess off here. Like that. And I need to put a little ferrule on there. And now this cable, obviously I'm just not going to leave it hanging like that. So I've got a cable tie. I'm just going to run around. Let's see how I want this to go. I wouldn't normally put a clear one on, but I don't have any black cable ties that would look nicer on this bike. But this will do for now, and when I get a black one, these things come off real easy. So just kind of want to get it so it's supported. Okay, yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, and I think that'll be fine. And then I just need to trim off the excess here. Okay, that's coming along pretty good. Let's hook up the generator wire and see if that'll work. So the first thing to do is just to plug it in, and okay, it appears to be on there. And I do have I ordered these lights. They're Basta Ellipsode. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch it on here. Let's see, you got to check the ground. So I'm going to hook that up to this wire, to the black wire. Alright, let's give it a spin and see if we got anything. Perhaps we don't have a ground. Let's see if we can. Not what I was expecting. Oh. Perhaps the ON/OFF switch will help. Hey, there it is. Look at that. Away it goes. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this up here. And then of course I need to route these wires and get that set up. So stand by for that. Okay, now in order to mount the light, I need to take this bolt off. So I'm going to hold it with that one. And it's just a 10mm. Okay, and that is the bolt that mounts the fender. So put our light in. Okay, eek. Alright, let me get the washer that flew off. So we'll get this in place. I'll put the washer on after I get the fender back up in place, that is. And the washer and the retaining nut. And we'll tighten it down. Okay, so we just need to tighten the bolt up. Make sure that the headlight is aimed relatively straight ahead and that the fender is where we want it to be. Okay, it looks pretty good, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wire it up. Okay, so what I've done is just wrapped this cable around the fork leg and brought it up to where the light's at. And then this one I've just routed underneath the fender. So I've got these two long strands yet that I need to do something with. So for now I'm just going to wrap them. Let's see, I'm going to put them underneath this and just kind of wrap them around the this head tube here, because I'm not quite sure how I want to finish this off. So I need to leave enough slack. I'm going to put this around here so there's some tightness there, so that I can turn the wheel all the way that way. So there'll be enough slack that way. And then I'm just going to wire these two together here and probably just cable tie this to hold it for now. And then once I get it all set and figure out how I want to do this, I'll go ahead and do a better job, maybe trim everything back. Okay guys, so here's the temporary finished product. I put a little cable tie here to hold the cable coming up from the dynamo, and then I just wrapped them around the head tube here, put a cable tie there to hold them in place, and then wrap this with electrical tape so it wouldn't it would be sealed from the elements. And I left enough slack in these so that I could turn the handlebar completely lock to lock, and there's still room for everything to work. So that's it, guys. It definitely is working, so we'll go from there.